And I never gave any mind to this until last year when John Noel made the comment. He says, Gary, he said, I think you're missing out on something that you need to have your people be made aware of. And I said, what's that? And he says, do you know that there's no one that I know of in this industry that is distilled on more than one continent in their career? And so we started researching it and come to find out he was right. So not only have I distilled in more than one continent, and more in one country, and more in one state, more than all operators in the world combined. So what does that do for all of us in Young Living and you boilers? People out there will say, and they'll continue to say, because they have to market something. You know, Procter & Gamble can market chemicals, so can other companies. And there's companies out there that say, well, you know, hey, we don't run out of supply. Procter & Gamble doesn't run out of supply either because they can make it up every day.
That's right.
But you don't take a tree and squeeze it every week and get oil out of it. And you don't take tansy and grow it every week and get oil out of it, or helichrysum, or blue tansy, or lavender, or any of the others. And this is the challenge that we face, and this is something that I pray that you can be proud of.
We are.
When Valor started becoming limited last winter because of the blue tansy and the black spruce problem, I was asked several times, well, Gary, can we just reformulate Valor? And I said, of course I can. I can do it with my eyes closed. But I won't. Well, we're going to be out of Valor. And I says, too bad. I says, I formulated Valor for a very specific reason. And I can't change the oils out and maintain that same outcome. I will not be able to maintain the same frequency of that oil. And yes, maybe we'll see some benefits in other areas, but we will not see the benefits I created Valor for. And I said, I won't compromise it. Because I said, I know we can get black spruce, I know we can get blue tansy. We may be in short supply this year, but we can get it. I just got to build more distilleries. Our most critical, so I was in, some of you know, I was in Morocco the week before convention, working with the people there on our blue tansy. And nothing that I could do to get more blue tansy for this year, but what I was there for and what I did do guaranteed us more blue tansy for the years in the future, and that's acquiring land there and working with the growers and the common people in the hills that wildcraft it, because tansy, blue tansy, had never been cultivated and grown domestically until 2 months ago when I went there and talked with a farmer that had some land. He agreed to plant some blue tansy in the greenhouse, and we started working with seed and starch, and as of last week, it's doing extremely well. So, I'll be back in Morocco week after next again to review the project, and from there we'll be making some pretty major decisions. But we have now an approval from another farmer to lease over 300 acres in Morocco. Nothing is definite yet until I go back and it's in paper, but everything, all the motions are there so we can keep growing. We are also going to be collecting blue tansy seed, and we're going to be planting blue tansy in other areas. I've talked with a family in Guadalajara, Mexico, and we're going to be flying down there to look at buying a farm there and planting blue tansy there. There's a lot of things in Guadalajara. I tried to farm there. Oh, it's been probably at least 15, 16 years ago. I went there, met a family. The guy was from Seattle. He was American. He was married to a Mexican lady. And we leased 320 acres, and I bought 10,000 rosemary starts from a nursery that we paid to grow them. And we worked up the land, and we're going to plant rosemary and lavender there. got everything, the whole project in place and going forward, was really excited about it. Came back home, and I called a few days after I got home to check up on how things were going, and there was no answer. Called a couple weeks later, no answer. A couple weeks ago, I finally flew back down, and he was unheard of. Nobody knew him. Nobody knew where he was at. The land that we supposedly leased that I paid the money on didn't exist. It all went away. So, you know, experiences in a lot of places in the world. But anyway, so we're looking at that. We're going to be planting blue tansy in several different locations just to see where it's going to grow, where we can grow. We're looking at Tunisia. I sent John Noel to Tunisia 2 months ago to look at there. We've been brokering with the government on land there. A lot of things are moving forward. I'll be in Serbia in 2 weeks as well, because we've been negotiating over the phone on 1,000 acres in Serbia for helichrysum. And it's interesting how you know, God takes care of us.
Yes, he does.
I called Mary last night to coordinate our timing, and because she thought I was going to go all the way to Salt Lake and pick her and the boys up and come back, and I said, well, I can, but I won't have time. I'll run out of time. And she was on the phone, and she says, honey, she says, I'm talking to a lady who has a home in Croatia and a home in Serbia, and she lives in London, and she's a brand new distributor, and she knows all the government people in Serbia. She's connected with all the families in Serbia, all the families in Croatia, and she just wants to know how to help you when you get there. So, you know, we're being taken care of. But my point being that if you folks see an oil on back order, it's because I won't compromise. And Jared, he says, well, Gary, that kind of hurts ourselves a little bit. But then I throw it back on him. I said, well, Jared, do you want me to come? No. That's the quality we have in our executive team at home. When I called yesterday, because we have a situation in Fort Nelson, because yesterday I was told that Monday's a holiday, and so it's a 3-day holiday in BC. It's BC Day. So everything shuts down tonight, and all the trucks stop running, cement, everything stops for 3 days. And I'm trying to fast track everything up there, and I'll show you some, maybe later today we get where we can hook up to a computer. I'll show you some pictures of the new farm. But in the first day when I got there Sunday night at 11:30, I was in the bush 6 o'clock Monday morning. I'd already arranged to have a cat hauled out and delivered to the site, an excavator. I went out, jumped on the cat, and I started just going back and forth on the property trying to find a place to build a distillery, and all the local people said, well, Gary, the highest ground is on the east side of the property. It runs a little over a mile along the Alaska Highway. And in that north country, it's a lot of muskeg. And the ground was wet, and everywhere I went with the cat, there was water up on the tracks. And I took the excavator that afternoon, and I dug holes down to see how far it was to the subsurface water. I dug holes down 12 feet, and the next morning they were within 3 feet of the surface. The water filled in. I got one picture of where Mark dug down one hole while I was bulldozing. He went down 15 feet, and he was so excited because he came and got me. He said, Gary, we got a dry spot. And I said, great, let's go see it. We walked back into the bush where he was digging, and I said, holy cow, Mark, this is fabulous. Maybe we can put the distillery here. And we're standing there talking, and it sounded just like a tire blowing out. And we turned around and looked, and this stream just shot right out of the sidewall, 4 feet below the surface.
No.
And by yesterday, it was right up running over. So it was a bit of a, so I spent all day Monday just looking back and forth, and it's all timber except for a few open meadow places. And working through, and Monday afternoon about 4 o'clock, I was pushing through some heavy brush and timber, trying to get through to go on to the south end of the property line another direction, and turned in the brush and backed up, and the track came off the cat. And that's a little bit of an interesting. You know, you just grab it and you just stretch out. But anyway, and then so while I was doing that, I said to the guy, they said, well, why don't you guys go and drive back down the property line? Because I said, I think maybe we can check down on the southeast corner. There was some high ground there we need to see if it's big enough. Okay, we'll do that. So we took off, jumped in the truck, and ran back. We're driving down the property line, and guess what? It looks just fine. You know, we're driving down this right of way on the outside of our property, and all of a sudden, poof!
Oh no.
The water was up to the running boards. So we walked all the way back. I had to get the cat, take it all the way back, onto it, pull it out. So Monday wasn't really a productive day, but I did get over the property before it got dark. And so Tuesday morning I went to the far northwest corner, found some high ground. I looked on the satellite map, and it just looked, the elevation was better, and I went there and found some good dirt and started digging Tuesday morning. So from Tuesday we opened up the site for the reservoir. I got a third of that dug out and checked my elevations. When I shut down at 10:30 last night, the distillery site was completely cleared, and the pad was all built, and the cutout for the distillery was all finished. So by Monday we'll be ready to start forming and pouring cement. We're doing something different, and we're going to be doing something a little different up there. We're putting in a drying plant. Actually, we're putting in one at Highland this fall too, to dry the chips. But in Canada, we're putting in a pellet plant, and we're going to make pellets out of the chips. Because the people all through that North Country burn pellet stoves. So a big project, but it's critical, and that's what we're going to continue to do, is just keep growing, because for me, I don't trust things the way they are, because I can't count on the future. You know, we've been getting black spruce out of Quebec for 22 years, and I even invested money in the distillery there, and then the husband died, and the daughter and the wife didn't want to expand, didn't want to go, and then just last week found out that she's now decided to quit distilling black spruce altogether. It's just too much hassle. So I'm really grateful I went ahead with my intuition and followed through. The distillery in Fort Nelson will be up and running in 2 months' time.
Wow.
And we'll be producing oil. So it's pardon?
How many acres is that on?
Well, this is what's beautiful. The original piece is 286 acres, and then I kept lusting for the land to the west of it. So I sent Jay in. I said, Jay, go find out who owns the land west of us, because it's got a lot of black spruce on it. Well, come to find out, it belonged to the government's crown land. And so he come back and said, well, then go to the forestry and talk to him. So he did, and we've already put in an application to lease that section land, which is another 143 acres.
Wow.
And it's solid black spruce.
Wow.
So our future is well set. But right now we have almost 2,000 acres under contract of private people around us within 2 miles to harvest all their black spruce. So we got, the other thing that grows well there is yarrow, ledum, goldenrod, caniza. So the things that, you know, we need a lot of, it all grows well in that North Country. So what are we doing for your future? We're already on track with the blue tansy. Hill Chrism is good for this year, will be better for the years coming with our investment that we're making there. Black spruce, those were our 4 major ones that were a big concern. And the 5th one was rosewood. As of last week, we've secured that. CITES has given us a verbal approval for a permit we'll have in 45 days, and we'll be able to start distilling. And 2 distillers left yesterday for Peru. So they will be be in operation by the end of next week in Peru. So we're all set up there, so CITES will allow us to start distilling. We can't ship until they've signed the permit, that they give us verbal approval through the government for rosewood. So the 5 oils that we've been concerned about, we've got it taken care of. We're going to be sure with blue tansy this year. So with that, you're going to see the 15 mil Valor come offline. We're going to replace it with a 5 mil Valor, so everybody can still get Valor, and we can supply the kits and the other products that Blue Tansy goes in and try to keep that going for this year. Now, what are you going to do when you have people say, well, golly, they're out of Valor again? Because if we double our size again this year, it's likely going to happen. And folks, here's the thing that I believe Young Living people have a natural inheritance to do this. I believe you're solution people, not problem people. And I believe that you'll find a solution. But I might give you a hint. If Valor goes offline again before next year's harvest, this is the hint. There's 499 other products. And that's before convention next year. After convention next year, they might be 400 or 525 more products. So, but you...
5 minutes to lunchtime.
Oh,
Sorry. We're talking.
who's hungry? I ate yesterday. So, yeah, and this is my point, is there's so much that you can direct your distributors to, you know, share with them. You know, have you tried Transformation? Have you tried Believe? Have you tried Harmony? And I'll tell you, when push comes to shove, and when I'm out traveling and I run out of Valor, I use Harmony.
Out of stock 2 years ago.
Pardon?
Harmony's out too. Harmony's out of stock too.
Not in my case. Okay, when Harmony's out of stock, then it's into the future.
That's right.
You know, there are so many oil blends that you can use. And you can create a similar effect. And I'm not going to blow smoke up your pant leg and tell you can have the exact same effect, because it won't happen. You know? But mentally it might. You know, oils are frequency. Project the oil. Project the frequency. You're amazed what can happen. So you got some beautiful oils there that you can use. And I'll tell you, I've been in many situations where I didn't have anything that still had oil in it except my bottle of frankincense. And I just held that bottle and just focused my intent on that bottle, and I need to realign my spine and put on the feet, and it works. So there's things that you can do. Oils are about intent. Oils are about frequency. And it becomes very, very special, and you can be very directional with making a few very simple things like that. So everything that we do is about your future, but I will not. And if it comes to the point where you all start hollering, well, Gary, there's too many oils out of stock, Valor's out of stock, Harmony's out of stock, we can't live with this, you know. If somebody else is running the company, we wouldn't be out of stock. I'll sell Young Living. But I will not be party to giving you an inferior product. It's just, I have to live with myself. You know that this company was built without marketing. 4 years ago was the first marketing meeting ever given by myself in Young Living. And the first time it was officially taught was 4 years ago. And I didn't even teach the comp plan, I just taught business principles. You know, we didn't need a marketing plan to build this company to what it is. Products that work, they market themselves. And, you know, maybe I'm a little naive, but I feel that I was given this assignment. I didn't choose it, and I didn't pick it, but others say that's not true. But I didn't go looking for this project. I didn't go looking for this job. It came to me. And the way it came was in such a manner that I cannot do different than I'm doing. Because I feel if I do, I will be insulting God. I won't go there. Introduce you people to other oils, and you got some amazing blends this year that are life transforming. And the emails that I'm getting back from the Freedom Release and the Freedom Sleep Kit and the Autism Kit are just, I spend 24 hours a day with leaky eye syndrome. Reading the comments and how it's changed lives so much already since convention. So, you know, it's there. You've got what you need. And MindWise. How many are using MindWise? And it's working.
Yep.
You remember to come. I was taken, and I have shared this with you. Can you come? I got it because I've been doing it for 3 years at home, but individual ingredients as I was putting it together. And so when it was finally made for convention, I got a bottle and brought it home, and it was just a whole lot easier than mixing it up every morning. And Mary says, "God, that tastes pretty good." And I said, "Honey, it works." And she says, "You can tell already?" And I said, "Yeah, I remembered that you're my wife." So, yeah, it's a great product, and I'll tell you something that was really interesting. We had a young man, he's a gold distributor, in his mid-20s, started taking MindWise right after convention. And this is what he said to me last week. He said, "Gary," he said, "I'm shocked at how much more clear my mind is and how much easier it is to remember things and articulate things than before I started taking MindWise." And I said, "You know, I didn't make it for you young people." And he says, "Too bad, it works." And he said, I will not quit taking this product. So, but MindWise, I developed that for the brain and the heart. Because, you know, there's some of us that's past 25 now. And statistically speaking, dementia now is affecting people 27. But by 55, dementia is very noticeable. And 4 out of 5 people in the United States, and it's diagnosable by 58 throughout the United States. Some of us are crowding those maturing years. I don't want to see any of you folks ever deal with dementia. And that was why I formulated that product. Number 2, if you're going to be young and youthful, you got to have a strong heart. And I got asked yesterday in the bush by a lady whose husband I rented a D6 from and a dump truck. We were talking, and she asked me how old I was, and I said, "Well, I'm not going to tell you." And she said, "Well, I'm going to guess maybe 50, 55. And I said, "Thank you, I'll accept that, but you're 10 years off on the high number." So she said, "Well, where do you get all your energy to do this?" And I said, "The way I live, the way I eat, and the oils I drink." And here's the thing, I got to keep my heart strong, I got to keep my hormones up, and any human being that keeps the heart strong and the hormones up will have all the energy they need and will outwork a 25-year-old any day of the week. So, you know, aging may be a requirement, but getting old is not necessary. And I don't believe in getting old. I've got too much to do. I've got 2 boys that's got more fire in their back pockets than 10 kids, and I have to keep up with them, or I hear about it. And so, but those are the keys, hormones and heart. You got the hormones and heart in the right place, the mind will have to follow. All right, but feed the brain, and the omegas, 3s and 6s and 9s are the brain food, and there's nothing higher than that than Sacha Inchi, which is in your MindWise formula. Now, when you go to the Polynesian Islands, you look at the Polynesian people and they're big people, and yet they don't have elevated cholesterol. Why? Because they live on coconut and coconut milk and coconut oil, and coconut and saturated are the same. They're a medium chain triglyceride, and medium chain triglycerides prevent neurodegenerative processes and dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's. So that product, mind-wise, is for the young people because it'll prevent something happening in the future. And I was asked by this young man, well, Gary, how much do you take? And I said, well, let me see. I take the lid off and I go, whoop, whoop. So 2 gooks. And it might be a tablespoon and a half per gook. Or whatever that is, I don't measure. I just drink what feels right. So, and the rest of you should do the same thing. It's extremely good for your PV. So, I know they're waiting at dinner, and when you're on my farm, I love sharing with you because